Turbo Ranger? No, it's supposed to be Maskman, not Turbo Ranger. I'm not doing that show yet. Oh! Turbo Ranger's the name of their vehicle that carries their mechs. That doesn't make any sense. Why would you call something... Well, okay, I guess they didn't know that they were going to do a show called Turbo Ranger, and Turbo Ranger was originally going to be called Car Ranger. But still, why would you call that thing Turbo Ranger, and then have a series 2 years later called Turbo Ranger? Stop confusing the audience! Remember to click like, subscribe, the bell notification, and whatever else YouTube has you clicking on to support us. Hikari Sentai! Maskman! What's up everyone, I am the Kaiju no Kami, and today I'm going to be reviewing Hikari Sentai Maskman. Originally planned to be titled 5-Man, Hirohisa Soda decided to step away from having a strictly science and technology based series to give us one that dealt more with the supernatural in the form of ki energy, or as the show calls it, aura power. While Changeman did have its ranger theme and powers derived from mythological creatures, it still revolved around the heroes utilizing the earth power through science, whereas Maskman is solely powered by the energy with a touch of technology to give them their suits and weapons. And what an awesome design they have for their ranger suits. They are hands down one of my top favorite costumes of the entire franchise, as I love how the ranger color, the white, and silver belt balance each other out. Not to mention the earrings on pink and yellow. However, does this show hold the same favorability in its execution? Let's kick this review off to find out. The heroes. Our heroes are a group of martial artists handpicked by a man named Sanjaru Sagata, who wanted them to help protect the world from an evil empire. How did he pick them, you ask? Easy, by beating the crap out of them. I think. Wait a minute. If you had to go through many people to get to him, and he's the only one who actually managed to fight back and hold his own, what happened to those other people? Did you kill them? Dang. So the first ranger you just saw there is Takeru. Played by the man I mentioned in my Flashman review, Ryosuke Kaizu. Takeru, for some reason, carries around shoes in a guitar case, and is the ranger with the most development, given that the main plot of the show revolves around him and his lost love, Mio. At the start of the series, Mio is captured by the villains and revealed to be their princess who betrayed them. She is imprisoned in ice, which motivates Takeru to be the best hero he can be in order to rescue her while saving the world at the same time. Yes, that's what he just said. He would travel through hell itself to rescue her. Were you not paying attention? We also do get to see him as a child in an episode when the villains plunged themselves back in time to kill his younger self, learning that he was not always the Boy Scout his teammates were led to believe he was.
Language.
Koichi Kusakari's Kenta takes on the role as the team's ladies' man. He does manage to find himself a girlfriend, but due to her getting captured by the villains, he quickly decides it is best for him to avoid a relationship until after their quest has been accomplished.
どうして行かないんだ。さあ行けよ。みゆきさんを二度とチューブとの戦いに巻き込みたくないんだ。
Finally, a ranger that gets it! That's about all there is to his character, but he does get to have some cool fight scenes with his masky rod. Sounds so Freudian! He's my favorite of the Ranger team. Issei Hirota does an excellent job of portraying the 16-year-old Akira who is quick to anger when he is treated like a child. Of course, if he weren't so easily distracted at times, people would probably not treat him as the child he is. Nevertheless, I really love this kid because he goes through a lot in the show and has almost as much development as Takeru, especially in the last several episodes. It's an interesting idea that I do wish was utilized to its fullest potential. One of my favorite moments with Akira deals with the celebratory scene when he thinks he defeated one of the villains all by himself. That's definitely something a child would do. We also come to learn that Akira was raised by his mother, though it is never quite clear if his dad had left them or died. It's Japan though, so I'm gonna guess that he died. Next up is Yuki Nagata's Haruka. Haruka is an interesting character for she is from a ninja clan.
私は代々忍者の家に生まれ、子供の頃から忍びとして育てられたの。
Her father was a mean bastard who wouldn't let her have a doll because ninjas don't need those, I guess.
忍者の修行の邪魔になるってね。
Oh, and she also apparently liked dancing.
ひとみちゃんに会ってから、私のダンスにかける思いも目覚めてしまった。
Of course it did. I think my favorite moment with Haruka is an episode where the villains are trying to become the ultimate ninja. So she traps the monster of the week in a dump truck and drives it into a gravel pit.
One big dump truck rolling down the road. One big dump truck rolling down the road.
Our final ranger is Momoko. Kanako Maeda energizes this 19-year-old Tai Chi expert with a strong moral compass. When she was a child, she got lost in a cave, only to be rescued by a bunch of flowers. Hey, is that correct? A bunch of flowers? So she was essentially raised on flower power. Mario would be proud. While there isn't much else to her character, I do want to mention that Maeda herself played one of the bird brain alien soldiers in Jetman with Zyuranger's Dan. It's actually kind of disheartening that these rangers are rather bland compared to their Flashman predecessors. The entire cast in Flashman was solid and had defining moments, while in Maskman, I can only say the same about half the cast here. This is really one of those shows where the suits stand out more than the characters themselves. Speaking of the suits, there is one more ranger to talk about, Ryo Asuka. In the context of the show, X1 Mask is a prototype Maskman suit that was scrapped for the suits the Rangers wear. In reality, X1 holds a lot of significances for the Sentai franchise. First off, the costume itself was based on the original Maskman designs that were going to harken back to the faces from Battle Fever J before Toei decided to stick to what was working for them with the past few shows. Secondly, X1 would become the basis for the 6th Ranger that would become a staple in Zyuranger. Finally, or at least in my mind, I feel like Ryo himself is the prototype that Toshiki Inoue would utilize when he developed Gaiyuki and Jetman. After all, we have Ryo drinking, playing pool, and getting pissed off at Takeru for trying to recruit him to the team to the point that he challenges the Red Boy to a bike match. Oh only to help the team out in the end despite his misgivings.
きっと帰ってくると思ったぜタケル
Unlike Guy though, the reason Ryo does not want to take part in saving the world is because it cost him his lover's life.
ユウコ
It's a little unfortunate that the X1 suit was used for maybe 90 seconds in total, as I feel like the last episodes of the show could have benefited from having another Ranger present to bring more variety to a formula that was getting stale. As far as the Ranger's gear is concerned, it's your run-of-the-mill weapons with a big cannon to finish off the monster. One thing that I do like is that the Rangers have to replace their first cannon halfway through the show for a new one. The villains. The villains of Maskman are known as the Underground Empire Tube. Wait a minute. If you abbreviate Underground, that means technically you could say that the villains of Maskman are U2. It makes so much sense now. There's the villain leader Zeba, who does have an interesting backstory that is built up over the second half of the show. It's part funny, part cool. We do know early on that he murdered the king of the empire and took it over so he could conquer the surface world. Sadly, he does jack shit the entire show. In fact, he pretty much stands around doing nothing as if he came out of a cutscene from a Ninja Gaiden NES game. Are you a Jackio or an Ashtar? By the way, what is up with these villains loving to dance in these series?
踊れ出陣を祝う踊りを戦いの神を出現させた者に総攻撃の指揮を取らせよさあ踊れ踊るんだ踊れバラバラだガシャドクのこの目で見つめればものみな命の限り踊るのだ踊りながら燃え尽きる命こそ戦いの神は喜ぶのだ真の魔力を裁判操る黒い獣 Get on with it! Yes! Get on with it!
The generals consist of a warrior named Baraba and Prince Igam. Igam is a weird villain to me, and I'm not sure if this is really a spoiler or not, but I don't get her. Yeah, Igam is a she.
Well, duh.
Which is quite obvious as she is played by the same actress who plays Mio, porn star Mina Asami, for they are twins, wears high-heeled stilettos, has the hips and shoulders of a woman, but everyone acts shocked when she is seen for the first time without her helmet on towards the end of the show. If this was supposed to be some sort of big revelation, Toei failed miserably because even a blind and deaf man could figure it out within the first 30 seconds of her being on screen in the first episode. Nevertheless, she is the villain with the most development as it was her father Zeba killed and she wants to restore her family's name. We also see how displeased she is with Zeba when it is revealed that he turned the underground people into slaves, but continues to do nothing about it at all.
帝人養成都市の住民だ
地底人養成都市このイガムに知らぬことがあったとは
She just blindly follows his orders because reasons. Baraba is quite one-dimensional, though not as much as the two underling soldiers, Fumin and Oyabu. The only backstory we get on Baraba is that he is from a warrior family and his mother is played by Machiko Soga.
女で一つで育て上げたかけがえのない息子なんです
She sacrifices herself so he can acquire a legendary sword.
Form blazing sword
Which which he proceeds to do absolutely nothing with for the rest of the show. I have no idea what happened here, but it was quite disappointing to make this fuss about the sword in one episode, have him nearly defeat the Rangers with it, and then never mention it again.
第一帝拳がなんと恐ろしい剣だ
Let us never speak of this again.
There is also a dragon-like elder named Agnamas. He's just there to recite exposition.
バラバも決死の覚悟じゃな。だが気の毒に未だかつてデビルドグラーに勝った者は一人もおらん。
Oh yeah, as for the aforementioned Fumi and Oyabu, they're ninjas. Yeah, that's about it. They have one episode where they are competing to become the ultimate ninja, and nothing more. Sure, Fumin serves Igam and Oyubu Baraba, however, they aren't given any sort of development whatsoever beyond being their henchmen. They are as developed as the foot soldiers known as angler soldiers. You pretty much know what to expect from them at this point. Regrettably, the monsters of the week called ground beast Dogglers fare not much better. With two exceptions, one of which I'll talk about later on in the review, the Doggler monsters are just mindless beasts with no unique personalities or character traits to call their own. Well, to be fair, some of them were two creatures that would combine to form one. However, they seem to drop that concept early on in the show as if it became a burden for the production team to keep it up. I have nothing positive I can say about them, as they come off as being some of my least favorite monsters of the week thus far. I guess I can say I did like the designs of this dude. And the Flower of Death type monster was cool. Other than those two, I've already forgotten nearly everyone else. They grow by another ground beast monster called Okalampa, who launches out sparks of energy to revitalize the defeated Doggler. Like the last few Sentai series before it, there is a villain who appears during the second half of the show named Kuros.
I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain.
Kuros is a thief who fell in love with Mio, or as he knows her as, Princess Io, so he made a deal with Zeba that if he defeated the Rangers, Mio would be his. This also leads to Kuros' hatred toward Takeru upon learning that Mio fell in love with him.
Kuros 貴様を殺す
Just like the rest of the villains in this series, he is quite uninspiring and feels like the writers were stretching to come up with something new. At least he has a great introduction where he destroys the Rangers' first cannon. That's something, right? The Mecha. Maskman is the first Sentai series to give each Ranger their own individual vehicle, hence the name Grade 5. Grade 5 is compiled of 2 jets, a helicopter, a tank, and a drilling machine. I really like the overall look of Grade 5 as he isn't as boxy looking as the mechs before him. I also feel like the colors really complement each other and I do like the face. The yellow eyes really pop. It also helps that Grade 5 is quite agile, giving us some impressive mech battles. Naturally, because Flashman did it, Maskman has to throw in his second mech, another tanker truck by the name of Galaxy Robo. Galaxy Robo was created by a friend of Sugimura after the government had decided to go with Grade 5 for their budgetary mech companion. Thus, the friend went ahead and built Galaxy Robo by himself, which cost him his life. This led to the machine being hard for the Rangers to control initially, but they managed to enlightening him to help them out. Get it? Enlightening? Because... I'll just shut up now. Initially, the show had a great concept of alternating between Grade 5 and Galaxy Robo for its mech battles, but eventually it grew stale. For one thing, you never see the two machines on screen at the same time beyond their initial moment when the Rangers had to rescue Grade 5 from Tube's control. Secondly, Galaxy Robo pretty much takes over as the Rangers' main mech in the last 10 episodes, as they never use Grade 5 again. Grade 5 is even absent from the final battle, which is complete bullshit, as they should have used the mech they began with for the finale.
Oh, that's stupid! Really stupid.
Thus, the mech battles become a total bore to sit through in the end, as not only do you get to see one machine on screen for the rest of the show, but they also start to reuse the same stock scenes over without really having any choreographed fights. It's quite disappointing, as if Toei just gave up, especially considering it was a martial arts based show. The effects and music. While there are no effects that stood out as detrimental as the ones found in its predecessor, Maskman also lacked the impressive camera work that was heavily featured in Flashman. It's not that the camera work is necessarily bad, as there are some great moments as found here. It's just that it doesn't live up to Flashman in that regard, such as this sequence, which I had shared in my review. It felt more like a tease, as often the camera will start to glide across the battlefield, only to abruptly cut to a more generalized style. There are a lot of great distance shots, and I do like the few beach battles featured. Disdainfully, there's only one memorable night battle, and it's a flashback scene. Overall, they may be cool fights, yet for being a show revolving around martial arts, it feels very insipid. Still, as I said, the effects themselves are pretty good. I do like this sequence here where they used a blue filter over the video to signify that Tube was doing something evil, and this adorable sequence. There are some incredible tracks from composer Goro Omi. Though I can't say anything jumped out at me as much as it did in Flashman or Changeman. The opening theme from Inoue Daisuke is catchy, while the ending theme is impressively apathetic. It did take me out of the mood of the show though, so I guess that's good. Nevertheless, I'm not sure putting you to sleep is how it's supposed to work. The episodes. Despite my disdain for a variety of aspects with this show, I did have a good time, as there were a lot of solid episodes throughout. I was really torn on which one I wanted to pick for my favorite, as we had great ones such as when Igam challenged Takeru to a duel to the death inside of an electrified fence, which probably features the best fight of the entire show. An episode where I feel like Akira was invited to Mortal Kombat Island. And of course the one featuring X1. However, the episode I decided to go with was the one titled The Blues of Love and Murder.
Ne, どんな感じの人だったの？それがすっ ごいかっこいい人でさ。
In this episode, a Dougler monster wakes up remembering a woman that saved him once when he was injured. He asks Zeba to give him a human form, which he agrees to do, giving him a time limit of 3 days. During a fight, he notices Momoko believing she was the one who saved him. Thus, he turns into a human and practically kidnaps her. I said practically, not that he actually did. They end up going out for dinner, only to play a game of dine and ditch.
でも大丈夫？このお店高いんじゃない？
心配するな。行くぞ。
Naturally, Igam becomes aware of their minion's plot and reduces him to being a mindless beast to destroy the Rangers.
ゼーバのビームは光の中の人の心を破壊した。
What I really love about this episode is that after having 33 brainless Dougler monsters before him, we finally get a monster that has a personality. Not just that, but a backstory and character development. It was quite satisfying, and the chemistry between him and Momoko made it even more entertaining to watch. It also benefited from having some badass music, and it was nice to see Momoko do more than just fight all the time.
本当の姿は
As for my least favorite episode, there was quite a few to choose from, like the one with Haruka and her childhood doll, and one that practically repeats a plot from Changeman.
キロスの敵助けてなんかもらいたくない。
キロスは俺と一緒に君まで攻撃したんだよ。
それは私がキロスの戦いの邪魔をしたから怒って。
自分を助けようとしてくれたのにか。
But I chose to go with an episode where Akira gains amnesia. You probably know where I'm gonna go with this one. Phantom Magic Agnamas sees Agnamas getting his hands dirty for the first time ever, which causes Akira to lose his memory. He finds himself befriended by a bunch of children who claim to know who he is, while he does not.
誰？君たち。
誰って私香りよお兄ちゃんに命を助けてもらった香り
え？
Well, it was nice to see some development from Akira through this aspect. It's as cookie cutter as can be as the episode goes through the motions you expect to see in this type of storytelling. Not even 10 minutes goes by before he miraculously regains his memory, rendering the whole thing pointless. It's just so goddamn stupid and generic. Toei, stop with the amnesia plots. They don't work. The movie. Another change from the previous two series is that Maskman only had one theatrical film, which came out during the summer instead of at the beginning of the show, as it was teamed up with Dragon Ball's Sleeping Princess and Devil Castle, Metalder's film, and a Saint Seiya movie. The film kicks off with an original opening song. From here, it follows the exploits of Igam using a mermaid from the Ocean of Tears, as opposed to the Trail of Tears, to sing a song that causes earthquakes when mixed with the movie's Dougler beast. The mermaid soon learns the truth about Igam.
You poor unfortunate soul. It's sad, but true. If you want to cross a bridge, my sweet, you've got to pay the toll. Take a gulp and take a breath.
Taku rescues the poor unfortunate soul, taking her to the ocean.
君は
私はレライ。これが私の本当の姿なのです。
Takeru? When they told you to forget about Mio because there were other fish in the sea, I don't think this is what they meant. As you probably know, I'm not big on these movies as I tend to find them dull and boring. This one is not bad, though nothing special either. Still, I've seen much worse, so it's okay in my book. At the end of the day, I just feel like Maskman was a whole bunch of untapped potential. It just couldn't live up to the radiance of Flashman, though it does have a lot of great concepts to call its own. As such, I am going to give Maskman an average 3 out of 5 grown-ups in spandex. It may not be anywhere near the best of the best, but it is definitely worth a viewing, especially if you want to see where the seeds of the much superior Dairanger were planted. With that said and done, that brings another Super Sentai review to a close. My 20th Super Sentai review. Until next time, bye.
Ball Buster, a great new game from Ego.